Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something truly deeply unsettling, an event that sent shockwaves through a community in Idaho and really across the country. Our goal here is to kind of unpack the key details of that Idaho firefighter ambush. We'll be drawing on recent news reports you've provided.
Exactly. We have these factual accounts, and we'll try to piece together, the core events, who was involved, and maybe start to understand the wider implications. Because what's really striking from the material is, well, the number of unanswered questions, especially about motive. So this deep dive is about trying to shed some light there.
Okay, with that heavy context set, let's get into the sequence of events. It was Sunday, June 30th, 2025, near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Fire crews were heading to a brush fire on Canfield Mountain. It was around 2 p.m. But here's where it turns incredibly dark. The sources are clear. Those first responders were fired upon.
Yeah.
Tragically, 2 volunteer firefighters lost their lives. Another was critically injured. It's just horrifying to think about, isn't it? The people running towards the danger becoming the targets.
It's incredibly chilling. And what's really significant here is the investigators' belief. They think the fire itself was deliberately set, part of a trap.
And trap, wow.
The reports mention a high-powered rifle was used, clearly aimed at the firefighters. So this isn't just, random violence or even just arson. It points to a calculated ambush.
Right.
Designed specifically to lure rescuers into the line of fire, targeting firefighters like that. It says a lot about the intent, even if we don't know the full reason why.
A calculated ambush. That level of planning is just staggering. Do the sources give any hint about how authorities concluded it was a lure? What pointed them that way?
Well, it seems to be the combination of factors.
Yeah.
The precision of the attack, the weapon choice you mentioned, the timing, it all strongly suggests it wasn't spontaneous. The sources really emphasize the deliberate targeting. It implies the shooter maybe understood or at least anticipated how fire crews would respond.
Okay. And amidst that chaos, the investigation did move quickly to identify a suspect, which answered the who, but maybe opened up even bigger questions about the why. The suspected shooter identified as 20-year-old Wes Rowley. He was found deceased near his firearm right there at the scene, believed to be the only shooter involved.
Yeah, and this is where the story gets really perplexing. Based on the sources, we have Rowley identified, but there's just this profound lack of clarity on motive. Authorities haven't determined why he did this. And what makes it particularly baffling, as the info you shared shows, is his background, or what we know of it. Relatives apparently described him as, well, optimistic previously.
Optimistic.
Yeah, his grandfather shared that Wes had recently moved to Idaho, was working for a tree company, and had even talked about wanting to become a forced firefighter himself.
Wait, he wanted to be a firefighter?
That's what the source indicated his grandfather said. So you have this stark contrast, right, between these supposed aspirations and this horrific, targeted violence. It's truly striking and leaves this huge gap in understanding.
I really struggled with that detail too, the firefighter aspiration. It just doesn't track, does it? Do the sources give any indication of, known grievances or anything in his background that might hint at this?
No. The reports we have are pretty silent on that front. They don't offer any bridge between that past description and this action. It leaves everyone, the community, investigators, just grappling with this seemingly unexplainable act, which is often the hardest part in these cases, the why.
Understandable. And the response on the ground was immediate and massive. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office is leading, but with a lot of multi-agency support. FBI involved too, providing tactical help. At one point, something like 300 officers were part of the response. Emergency alerts went out. Shelter-in-place orders too, though some were lifted later.
Absolutely. A huge mobilization.